Rodrygo, and Rodrygo again. In the 12th minute, the young Brazilian pulled down the ETH bridge and opened the scoring for Real Madrid in the second leg of the 2023-2024 UEFA Champions League final. It can be said that the opening goal in the last match between the two teams of the striker born in 2001 caused the match to go in a completely different direction, where Real Madrid have easily deployed the familiar counter-attacking defensive play. From there, pull the home team in extra time and defeat them in the fateful rotation. Yes, that name haunts poor Diola's army. The media keep warning half of Manchester about the danger of Vinicius Jr. or Jude Bellingham and forget that Rodrygo is really the carving of the citizen. Manchester City fans can't forget his fateful 2-minute kick 2 seasons ago, the semi-final of the second leg of the Champions League 2021-2022, winning 4-3 in the first leg with the advantage of 2 goals in the second leg, makes everyone think that Man City is firmly in the hands of the final ticket. However, that name appeared. Rodrygo Goes was the culprit who indirectly escorted Pet and his students out of the tournament. One detail that will surprise you is that Rodrygo has equaled Karim Benzema's record as the most goal scorer for Real Madrid in the history of the two teams' confrontations in the knockout stages of the Champions League. More specifically, when including the 2 goals he scored in the first and second leg this year, Rodrygo Goes now has 4 goals of his own. Not only does Rodrygo stand out in matches with an impressive series of achievements, but every time he meets Manchester City, Rodrygo turns into chaos. He and Vinicius Jr. made Pep's defense with a huge line with a name that was no less than sweaty. The wide operating floor of the two, especially for Rodrygo, when he often swapped the center position to the right and back to the left, with an endless source of energy. Rodrygo and Vini and Rodrygo, Man City's defense line has indeed staggered with these 2 names. Viewed objectively, Rodrygo is really a quiet hero for Real Madrid, even if he shines, even if he scores in big matches like Man City. But the media didn't seem to appreciate him. But Rodrygo kept moving forward step by step and was always there, with the name of Manchester City. Back in the past, Rodrygo's career began with comparisons. Too young a guy, getting too much attention when it took a lot of effort to get through this time. I think I will always be compared by people. Rodrygo himself admitted this in an interview. Obviously, when you're a morning star and you have talent in a place like Brazil, comparisons are inevitable. Rodrygo was labeled Neymar as a minor by his hometown media as soon as he celebrated his 12th birthday. We are talking about Neymar, an ideal role model. He has a lot of achievements while I am just taking the first steps. How can I compare to him? Being compared to Neymar is really great, which shows that I am proving myself and my career is also on the right track. But it's lame to compare me to him anyway. It was Rodrygo's added words of humility, a huge respect for Neymar Jr. There, the boy born in 2001 also understood that comparisons are sometimes fun, but sometimes it also turns into invisible pressures. Not that Rodrygo himself had to exclaim, "I always tell people not to compare anymore. I'm under pressure. My God, I don't want to be compared to anyone." It is we who understand that when we see how many Ronaldo de Lima, and Neymar have not been able to develop their careers in a usual way. External factors will obviously have a huge influence on young people who are only 12 to 13 years old, like Rodrygo at that time, if they themselves cannot keep their feet on the ground. Fortunately, we still have the Rodrygo Goes we have now, and it's also a pleasure that Rodrygo is Rodrygo and not a copy of anyone else. While waiting at the sea, Rodrygo also regularly uses his skills to overcome opponents, thereby increasing the gaps with flexible choices. When he was along the edge, when he cut through the inside to make the right situations, Rodrygo was said to be a multi-purpose card for every coach when he could play both sides, and was also often arranged to play as a real striker. Yes, it is no accident that he has been compared to Neymar at the age of 12. The technical qualities, the ingenuity are clearly what Rodrygo carries within him. But with Rodrygo, we will have a more restrained, less colorful, and most importantly, somewhat more effective than Neymar. In Brazil, being a professional footballer has been a dream for most of the boys. The wildness and ornate style of the legends have helped the next generation always be inspired by their predecessors. Pele, Grinch Jinho, or Socrates are the idols that motivate the children to try to put on the yellow and blue shirt. But it's never that easy. Some people have spent their childhood with the ball, but on futsal, not on the pitch. In his younger days, Antony and Martinelli also participated in a futsal championship tournament for young players. The same happened to Rodrygo Goes when he joined the Santos Club's youth training class at the age of 10. They have one thing in common. Football talent has shown strongly since childhood. After a period of training in the futsal environment, both Rodrygo and Martinelli moved to play football on the pitch, and they have a short time continuously compared to each other. In 2012, Martinelli was the top scorer for the U11 Critias with 15 goals behind only Rodrygo, who scored 20 for the champions. 2 years later, in the U13 tournament, the striker's winger scored 5 goals for Timau, but lost to the Real Madrid star, who contributed 19 goals to help the PC crowned. "Our childhood dream has come true," said striker Petro, who is also from futsal and was present at the 2022 World Cup with Rodrygo. "When I see my image in futsal, flashbacks are shown in my head and help me remember the past. It's emotional to look back on the journey to the World Cup. We will keep those memories for the rest of our lives." Thanks to the technical speed and tireless spirit of effort, the Brazilians who have come up from futsal have achieved worthy results. Rodrygo, Martinelli, Antony, and Pedro are the clearest examples of the saying, "It doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you go." 26 August 2023, Real Madrid secured a 1-0 win over Celta Vigo to take the top spot in La Liga for the time being. The visitors could have opened the scoring sooner if the Brazilian had successfully taken a penalty that he earned on his own. But unfortunately, that did not happen. A shot in the left corner failed, the force was not too strong, and goalkeeper Ivan Villa successfully saved. Witnessing the student's disastrous shot, Corretto was angry. "There can't be freedom here, I don't know what happened. I told Valverde to tell Luka Modric to take that penalty. But then they decided to let Rodrygo shoot. Of course, I was angry. Maybe the problem was a misunderstanding. Maybe Valverde didn't have enough time to communicate. We'll have to talk about it in the next few days." Carlo Ancelotti has publicly complained to the media about Rodrygo, who could do the same. Real Madrid's number 11 revealed on October 16th that as a player, being able to play in different positions is a strength. "Now that I'm on the national team, I have more freedom of movement. This helps me to show more. Personally, I have always played my best when used in the wing corridor. I just don't like playing as a striker, but this is where I have to play at Real Madrid." Wait a minute. It's the position I have to play. Sounds like the kind of coercion and constraint Rodrygo faces in the Santiago Bernabeu. It was as if since Burlingham's arrival, all tactics and personnel had changed around the number 5, and the Brazilian was no exception. However, just over 3 weeks later, Rodrygo ran to the edge of the pitch, hugging Arodi just after scoring a 3-0 win for Real Madrid against Braga T, as quoted by the Brazilian on November 14th. "I don't like to play with my back to the goal and little touch, but I still play as a center forward because of the team and because I believe in Ancelotti too. When he understood that, there was no problem. Things didn't go well for me at the beginning of the season, but Ancelotti always encouraged me. I had to thank him for this." During the post-match press conference, the former Everton boss also emphasized the trust he has in Rodrygo. "Throughout my coaching career, I've had a lot of strikers struggling to score goals. All I've done is continue to support them. Players like Rodrygo will shine sooner or later. They have extraordinary qualities. It's just a matter of time." Rodrygo was once so upset that he had to speak to the press and not be patient. It could be the impetus of youth. The other coaches could have objected, got angry, and even pushed the player to the bench, but Ancelotti did not do so. He displayed the ability to be the ultimate psychotherapist, as Ancelotti named his autobiography Quiet Leadership, Winning Hearts and Winning Matches.